Hello and welcome to week 7 and your first Monday video for this week. So, our theme for this week is the Arctic or very cold climate. So, we're going to be talking about 10 words that you can use when talking about this in context and also like recognizing it when you see it in comprehension extracts. Now, at the end of this video, I'm also going to remind you of how you can come and join us for some live lessons to practice this vocabulary. Next week, we're going to be on our half-term break, and we have lots of exciting things going on during half-term, so I'm going to tell you all about that at the end of this video. But for now, let's dive in and learn our first 5 words for this week. Okay, so the first word we have is the adjective harsh. Now, harsh generally means something that's like quite severe, quite rough, quite uncomfortable. So when we're talking about it in the context of weather, if you're talking about harsh weather, it would normally be referring to something that's like very uncomfortable, very horrible to be in, not a very enjoyable experience. So if we were going to use it in a sentence, we could say something like, the harsh winter weather made it really difficult for people to go outside without proper protection. So the sentence there, that context creates this imagery of like maybe like really cold, snowy, icy conditions, maybe really heavy wind, anything that would make it kind of almost like dangerous to go outside and spend a lot of time out there. The next word is the verb traverse. So this can be again be used as like a verb or a noun, but we're going to talk about it here as a verb. So to traverse essentially means to like move along or move through something. It's like a way of describing like how you're sort of traveling. Now, we chose this for this week with the idea of like the Arctic because it also reminded us of like mountains and expeditions and things like that. So, to use it in a sentence for context, we could say something like, the hikers planned to traverse the icy mountain range during their expedition. So, again, using a word like this, rather than just saying like travel or climb, you're just sort of up leveling your vocab a little bit. And I think using the word traverse also makes it sound like it's a bit more extreme. It shows you that it's a harder thing for them to do, like it's a very challenging environment for them to be in. The next word is a great word for geography, and it's a noun, and the word is tundra. So tundra essentially refers to like an area of land that's really sort of big, huge open areas of land. Generally, they don't have many plants or trees. And normally as well, the ground it's sort of covered in what you call like permafrost, and it's quite marshy and it's covered in moss and all things like that. So you see that a lot on sort of like nature programs, these big, really cold, harsh, open areas of land. And that's called tundra. So if we were using it in a sentence, if we wanted to show off and kind of put this in our creative writing, we could say something along the lines of, the Arctic tundra is known for its extreme weather conditions and unique ecosystem. Okay, the next word is the adverb starkly. So the word starkly, we would use this in the context of something like if something's stark, it's very like obvious and it stands out. Now we're using this more as an adverb though, and it's also in the context of like it stands out in a horrible way, like it's quite a harsh thing. So the best way to sort of explain it is to use it in a sentence. So if I said something along the lines of, the contrast between the Green Valley and the Arctic tundra was starkly evident. So what I'm doing there is I'm making a comparison between two environments that are like very opposite, very different in sort of like what it would be like to be there, the weather, what it looks like, everything about it's very different. And to describe the difference between them as being starkly evident shows you that it's like really obvious, it's really standing out. And again, it's maybe being used in like a sort of slightly negative way because you're comparing like this lush green, lovely valley to like this freezing cold Arctic tundra. So starkly obvious that the green, nice valley is going to be a much more pleasant place to be than the freezing cold Arctic tundra. Okay, and the last word on the list for today is the adjective bleak. So again, this kind of ties in quite nicely with some of the other examples that we've talked about here. So if something is bleak, it's normally quite dreary and desolate. It also creates these connotations of this idea of there not being much hope. There's not much of a sense of optimism there. So if we were going to use in a sentence, we could say something along the lines of, the abandoned house on the hill looked bleak against the dark, stormy sky. So the image we're creating there is like this sad, sort of lonely house. You could even put that in the context of like the tundra and the Arctic that we've been talking about here. And it's this idea that it's like isolated, quite dreary, quite sad, and then you've got this dramatic backdrop around it of like a stormy sky. So it feels like quite like a ominous, maybe slightly scary place to be. Okay, so well done for having got all that vocab. Here is a quick little summary for you of the 5 words that we have done in today's video. As always, make sure that you're writing your sentences in the chat box. You don't have to use all 5 words. You could just use one word and put it in a really fantastic sentence. What we just want to see is that you're practicing. And remember, we always pick winners. Every week we have a new winner that we send a prize to. Now, also as well, next week is our half term. So if you are also on half term and would love to come along and find out some more about how you can join us for live classes, live quizzes, live activities, a great little booster for your 11 plus vocabulary, make sure you check out the link below. Go and have a look at our website, and all of the details are on there for what we're going to be doing, when we're going to be doing it, and how you can come and join us. Otherwise, I'm going to be diving back in on Wednesday, sharing 5 more new words with you, telling you a little bit more about the half-term sessions that we're going to be running, and I really look forward to seeing you then.